Hey, and here we are. What's happening, everybody? In June, today is the 7th of July, 2025. And we're back today because a couple things have happened. The biggest news is, of course, that Trump has clearly abdicated any sense of fiscal conservatism. Not sure if you expected that. I didn't know. I didn't really expect it, but I thought maybe. Maybe he was willing, especially after the treatment he got the first time around, how the Republicans abandoned him the first time around. I thought maybe he would just stick it in everybody's eye and just find a way to cut some spending, even with Doge and Elon. But no. We're going to add $5 trillion to the budget. The fact is Trump was always a big spending Democrat. That's who he is. That's who he was. That's who he always is. Doesn't matter what he says. And his idea is the same as every other conservative before, or even every other president. We're going to grow our way out of the debt. That's what we're going to do. We're going to grow our way out of it. And they passed the omnibus bill, which Clarence Thomas has been warning us about for a while. This kind of stuff is ridiculous. All we can hope for is that it's the only bill. It's the only thing. They put everything in it. Single subject bills should be the rule. We really need a constitutional amendment to rein in the federal government, because it's just going to be like this. Every president from now on, is just going to get one bill, and they're just rearranging the chairs on the deck of the Titanic, because they're just figuring out who gets the money. That's all they're doing, is who gets the money and who doesn't. And they're just taking it from the people that they don't like and giving it to people that they do, and we get screwed in the meantime. That's just what's happening. And of course, with an omnibus bill, there's zero accountability. How can you hold somebody, oh, you don't like the immigration situation, so you voted against the bill? No, it was something else in the bill. There's no way that anybody has cover now, of course, and that's why they do it. So it's ridiculous, and it needs to stop. And my thought is anybody who votes for an omnibus bill at this point should be primaried. It's like, I'm on Thomas Massey's side here, okay? That's just what's going on. And I'll tell you, the Libertarians are knives out for Trump and Vance and the Republicans at this point, because, damn, you just literally just sold everybody down the river. It's the same story. Now, Clint, I want to bring up this guy, Clint Russell, because he seems to be a good guy. I don't know Clint at all, but I see him on the internet. I see him on Twitter. I follow him a little bit. And he was, I guess, maybe a libertarian candidate last time around. He was thinking about going in on the ticket with Dave Smith for president, vice president, or something like that. Anyway, I like Clint. I think he's a principled guy, and he posts his stuff online. And he posted a little thing today, which has brought me here today with you. And what he did was he made a little list of things that he would like the next administration to address if we're ever going to get out of this mess, so to speak. And I'm going to address the little things on his list because I can. I want to add some things. I want to change some things and just tell you what is going on. And I think I have a solution for how we can grow our way out of this situation. And by the situation, what what we're talking about here is the runaway spending. What we're talking about here is the government now has the bit in their mouth. Ever since George W. Bush, they've realized they can spend whatever they want and just inflate the shit out of the currency, and nobody's going to do anything about it. We've passed the point of where the people who remember why they cared about that kind of shit have all died or are inept or whatever at this point. And so we're getting back into the hyperinflation cycle, which I guess requires the generational shift. But here we are. So, and it doesn't look good because the exponential growth of the debt is very concerning. And you just got to figure there's going to be some major problems that come down the road with that. So we haven't addressed that at all. And Clint talks about that. But let me just go through Clint's list here because I'm just going to take it one at a time. The first thing he says is end the wars. Okay, now I know everybody's pissed off about President Trump for doing the Iran thing, but we're not going to do a regime change. Okay, that's not going to happen. We're not going to invade. We did a bombing. It's probably bullshit. It was probably just to appease Israel. But hey, Israel may have the intelligence. They were certainly in danger, as I've said in a prior podcast. I think it was an existential threat for Israel, and they of course wanted us involved. But in general, I want to say this about the war situation: you can't say no wars. You can't do that. Okay, you can't say I'm going to be the no war president, because as soon as you do that, you've shown your cards to the other side, and the other side is going to use it against you. And the way they're going to do it is they're going to say, look, if you don't want a war, then we're going to push it. We're going to press it. We're going to go all the freaking way. We're going to make you surrender, basically. And that's what happens. You can't go into a negotiation saying, we're going to work this out. We're definitely going to work this out, because the other side will hear that and they'll be like, oh, well, in that case, I'm going to get every fucking thing. And that's apparently what Trump has done to Putin. I know I predicted Trump would wrap up the war in Ukraine in no time. I thought it'd be over by like the end of March at the most. And the reason it wasn't, from my perspective, is twofold. Number one, Trump and Vance blew the Zelensky thing at the White House completely. They didn't let him save face and say that he didn't want to end the wars. They pushed him into saying, well, they didn't push him at all because he backed out. So, unfortunately, that was huge. And then, during all that, Trump basically showed his hand to Putin, saying he doesn't really care about Ukraine. Trump doesn't really care about Ukraine, and he's not willing to get the United States back in a substantial way, which means it's open season for Putin if he wants to take the rest of it, because Europe can't stop him. They don't have the troops or the armaments at this point. So it's up to Ukraine, which they're making great strides in their drone defenses and good technology stuff. And I mean, they've certainly survived way longer than anybody thought, but they're probably still going to lose badly. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's any way around it at this point. I mean, Trump could still reinvigorate his hand, but basically he blew that. But my point is that you can't be the no war president. War always has to be judged in context. Okay, you can't be Queen Amidala. I won't condone a course of action which will lead our people to war. Well, yes, you will if they need to. Okay, and not only that, she did. She brought the Naboo in to fight for her. Right? That's what happens, because somebody has to do the fighting if there's a real conflict. So you have to leave war on the table. But what you have to say is, look, we're only going to do it if it's for strategic reasons, and then we're definitely going to do it. I mean, you don't have to say anything. You can keep your cards close, like Trump does a lot of times. He says, nobody knows. I might bomb you. But then he kind of tipped his hand anyway, and they figured out, well, he didn't want to do that. And so you have to be ready to go to war, unfortunately, Clint. So I'm anti-war. I don't want us in places all over the world fighting wars. Nobody does. Nobody wants to lose their kid somewhere distant. It's crazy shit. But at the same time, there are strategic values to certain positions, and it would be silly or stupid or foolish to not maintain those. So there's always a chance, and you got to be open to it. So I don't think Trump's going to get us into any major other big conflicts. I think he's fine with that. We'll see. All right. COVID justice is the next thing on Clint's list here. And let me just tell you guys, there is never going to be any COVID justice. It's never going to happen. There's never going to be anything like people on trial for COVID decisions or anything like that. And the reason is because they made it all legal. That's what they do. They make it all legal, and then it's just legal. It was legal. They're not going to go back and undo it. We still don't do ex post facto criminal laws. And so, I mean, maybe they could prosecute somebody like Fauci or one of the other people who said some shit like definitively to Congress under oath about the efficacy or the of the vaccine or its prevention of transmission or something like that. But it almost doesn't matter how bad all these collateral effects get. People could be dropping dead, died suddenly, left and right, cancer all over the place, mitochondritis, everything that there is. And I probably didn't say that right. And nobody's going to jail. Nobody's going to do a single day. And you just have to get over it. Look, they were doing the best they can. I know they might have screwed a lot of people up, millions and millions of people. It's possible. But they were doing what they thought was a reasonable response. I mean, you tell people, look, you're in charge of this response. You got to come up with something, and they did. And so I just hope that everybody exercise their rights not to take the thing. And I hope that we get back to realizing that any effort to force people to take the jab was absolutely unconstitutional and crazy. I don't care what you say, Dershowitz. You're wrong about that one. All right. Another thing on Clint's list, third thing, restore gun rights. Now this actually we've made some progress here, actually. If you look back over the Supreme Court cases recently, people have been slightly more empowered to carry their firearms around in various states and places. We're still nowhere near to the no gun-free zones. Gun-free zones are just a magnet for shooters. I mean, just why would you go anywhere else to kill a bunch of people except a gun-free zone? I mean, that's the perfect spot. It's the perfect spot. And yet people still, we have schools are our gun-free zones. Like, that's so crazy. Just let people arm themselves. That's what you have to do. Again, it goes back to the war thing. If you tell people you're never going to fight, then guess what? You're going to fight because they're coming for you. So you just tell people, look, hey, the teacher may have a gun right there in his desk or her desk. So don't fuck around because you might get shot. So there's been some progress. I'm just going to say that. And yeah, I mean, it would be nice if we could get back to the real Second Amendment whereby you can own a howitzer if you want to, if you can afford it, right? Now, you're not going to point it at anybody because if you do, of course, you're going to get killed. I mean, everybody's going to fucking kill you. There's no question about it. So you don't have to worry about people getting out of control with their howitzers or their F-16s. It's not going to happen. You know, right now you got kids sitting in front of an F-16. Right now there's kids flying over our roofs right now in F-16s. Probably. And if they wanted to drop a bomb, they could, but they're not going to. You know why? Because they're part of a system. And everybody, it would be fine if everybody could have the weapons that they want. And then we could allow Americans to go fight overseas if they wanted to. If they wanted to sign off on that. But for now, I'm just going to say gun rights are getting a little bit better. So that's okay. All right. Defending free speech is the next thing on Clint's list. And this, I got to say, I mean, this is huge. Free speech, it's amazing the damage that people have done to the free speech concept recently. You've got the UK and Germany arresting people and putting them in jail for long periods of time, not just like overnight. I'm talking about 6 months, a year, 2 years, for words on the internet. It may be illegal for you to travel to Germany and the UK right now because of things that you said on the internet. I mean, you can go there, but then they can just pull up your Twitter account and arrest you and imprison you for a year or whatever because you said Keir Starmer, sucks big fat cocks or something like that. And, I just think, look, we have to preserve the free speech issue because that's the only way you share ideas. If you can't have free speech, then there's no reason for free thought. And there are some countries right now that are going down that road. UK, Germany, looking at you guys, Motherfuckers, you guys fucking insane over there. Seriously. Insane. So get that shit together. All right. The next thing Clint's got on here is a balanced budget. Now, this is just the bare minimum of fiscal responsibility that a conservative should have. Balance the budget. I mean, he's not even talking about cutting taxes or stopping inflation. He just says balance the budget. That's all he says. I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to say you got to cut spending. You got to stop the inflation. There ought to be a rule against inflation. There ought to be a literal rule against it. But of course, the whole monetary system is set up so that they can do that, so that they can skim the 2%. It is such a scam, and we're all just in it, and they get their cash, and we get inflated out of our homes. So, unfortunately, even with Doge, there's no way to cut the spending without a huge paradigm shift in people's thinking. And honestly, it's just not going to work to cut first. That's why everybody tries the growth first strategy, because as soon as you cut the spending, you put a whole bunch of people out of work, all the numbers come back terribly, everybody's screaming, crying, and it just is potential mayhem right away. And so you don't want to do it that way, unfortunately. The way you do want to do it, and I'm going to tell you, here is the way out. We have to legalize work again. We have to legalize work again. It's illegal for most people to work in this country for a variety of reasons. There's zoning, there's patents, there's copyrights, there's licensing, there's permits, passes. There's all kinds of regulations that prevent people from fucking just going to work. If people could just work, then what would happen is, let's say you took down everybody's copyright and patent protections, right? And you said, look, if you want to copy something, good ideas should be copied. This should be like a mantra of ours. Good ideas can be copied, legally speaking. Not this bullshit about if you're the first one to register at the U.S. Patent Office, then you own it. Nobody can copy a good idea until you tell them. And you get to charge them money for that shit. What a bunch of bullshit. That is not capitalism, okay? You can call it what you want, but it ain't. It's fucking bullshit. It's protectionism. And that's the kind of shit that needs to end. We need to get all of the vested interests out of the way so that people can begin to make the money. And then what happens is, if we do that, right, if we empower people to make money, then the losses will come out of the big people's checks, right? Because what you'll do is you'll get, let's say you get somebody, some entrepreneurial guy, we eliminate patents and copyrights, right? So the first thing that happens is I go up on the internet and I copy Amazon's display and the way that they do their delivery and output and all that kind of shit, because it's fucking brilliant, okay? And I copy it and I call it Spamazon or Curtizon or whatever it is. And that's my website, right? Now I start going to make deals with people, and mine is just as good as theirs, right? Now I'm not infringing on trademark here. I'm not calling it Amazon. I'm calling it my thing. But it works the same way because they don't have the patent copyright protection anymore, right? It just chews into Amazon's profits a little bit. That's all it does. People may be a little unhappy. You know, you're the supplier here or there. Oh, you're not getting quite as much money. But it's not the catastrophic loss that you get when you just fire people out of the government or when you just cut massive spending. All right. It's an incremental cutting into of what was formerly protected areas of commerce. And we need to eliminate all those protections. We should have people being able to do, if I want to be a contractor, I should be able to go fucking help somebody build their goddamn house. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to go help somebody build their goddamn house because I haven't apprenticed for 4 years at some fucking person's work, okay? Because, look, it all comes down to the market. If I can convince somebody that I'm going to do a good job, then they can hire me. They should be able to. But no, we have laws that prevent that. You see how that works? You can't even cut somebody's fucking hair. You can't read somebody's palm without a license. There are so many restrictions on everything. Think about it. If we just eliminated patents and copyrights, you could copy music, or you could sell the music right out of your just do it, you know? You could sell your creation without worrying about getting sued left and right by these people, these greedy people, these protectionist greedy people who registered their shit, their bullshit first with some authority with guns. That's the only reason you can't do it. It's the only reason. Is because we have people with guns preventing you from working. All right? So that is the way out of this whole fugazi, is let people fucking get back to work. Drop all the bullshit things that have sent all the work overseas. You can't have these massive safety restrictions on all kinds of fucking work. All right? You have to let people make their own judgments about those things. And hey, if somebody loses a hand, then they sue the employer. If there's fault there, that's what tort law is for. Okay, we have an entire system set up for that. But we're not allowing it to work because we preempted the whole thing with all these right to work laws. So, you look at Malibu and Pacific Palisades, the fires were like 6 months or more ago. There's nothing happening. You know why? Because nobody's allowed to do anything. You can't even fix up your home on your land. I mean, that's how much bullshit we've got going around right now. So, man, all right. That's just, so that's what I wanted to say. That's mostly it. We got to kill the omnibus bills. We got to let people work, or this country, the debt situation's going bad. And real quick, I just want to say one thing on the Epstein situation, because that's all over the place right now. And I'm going to fuck this up because, all right. Here's the thing. You can't trust prosecutors. You can't trust Pam Bondi. Prosecutors are a special group of people. They're mostly liars and they're bad people. Now, there are some good ones, but these are people you have to remember that we have literally empowered to hurt other people. They can literally, legally kill someone. That's how powerful they can become. And it skews their concept of right and wrong. And what happens is they adopt this method of describing situations in the worst possible terms. They'll say things like, we have a mountain of evidence against Epstein. Well, what does that mean? What does that mean? You can imagine a mountain if you want to, but it doesn't mean shit. I mean, is that one tape? Is that 10 tapes? And now you've heard Pam Bondi come out and say, we got the Epstein list. It's right on my desk right here. And now there's no list. And we heard, the cameras were down. And now there's cameras, which clearly showed nothing happened. So look, I'm convinced that Epstein was murdered and, by some or another government and government officials to cover up whatever. But at the same time, I'm fine with the concept that there's not a lot of evidence to convict Epstein because prosecutors will say that there's a bunch of shit when there's nothing. And Pam, she's one of the worst, unfortunately. We saw her operate here in Florida for a while before she went up to the feds, and she's bad. So we can expect more bad shit from her. And you're never gonna hear anything about that shit. That's just all I'm gonna say. It's just going down, unfortunately. But I mean, I don't care. I don't think really cares. It's a relatively small situation, except for the whole blackmail-y thing. Because we don't know what people have done in response to their blackmail. Not a single one. Not a single person. Nothing. So anyway, all right. I just want to come on, share the updates, basically say, oh, well, good luck. I guess we'll see what happens now. The best we can hope for, I think, is a washout in the midterms for the Republicans such that there's gridlock for the next 2 years after that and nothing gets passed or done. That way, the American people can kind of do some shit without things getting screwed up at the federal level. And then Elon's coming out with his American Party. Now, Elon, call me. I'll help you. But, oops, somebody calling me. That's him right there. All right, I got to go. I got to talk to Elon. So have a great day, and see you soon.